right, everybody. I am back. Hello, hello, hello again. I'm going to try to make my screen larger so you guys can see me better. If you see me talking, you see my lips moving, but I don't seem to be keeping up with the lip movement. It is because my internet speed is going slow. We're sharing a lot of broadband in this house today. But let me go ahead and sign on for you. This is Bonita Applebaum coming at you once again with another one of my bomb ass videos. And it is good to be in the presence of my Black people. How are you today? All right. This is going to be my last video of the day. This is my go to bed video. I'm at home and I'm in the bedroom. I got to go to bed early because I got to get up early. Today isn't my Friday. Tomorrow is my Friday. But the meat of the matter that I want to get into today is, are white Hispanics the new white supremacists? And the reason why I ask this is because all over areas where I see a large saturation of Hispanic population, that means Hispanics are running banking institutions, they're running employment agencies, they're running unemployment agencies, and they are the main ones cropping up with businesses all over the communities. So I'm noticing, especially out here on the West Coast, that there is a large Hispanic population, and they are running everything. These are the people who are now in charge of giving job opportunities. So what I have been noticing over the last few years is there has been a rise in white Hispanic supremacy. And when I say there's been a rise, I mean ever since the Trayvon Martin killing, when George Zimmerman, a white Hispanic, and he identifies himself as white, but he's also Hispanic, killed an unarmed teenager. He basically deputized himself and took it upon himself to follow young Trayvon Martin through a neighborhood. And the reason why I say that they are honorary white supremacists is because they have taken it upon themselves to do what white people have been doing to Black people over the last 400 or 500 years. Like I used the example of George Zimmerman policing his neighborhood, seeing young Trayvon Martin and deputizing himself, taking it upon himself to follow Trayvon Martin, taking it upon himself not to follow the directions of the 911 operator, and taking it upon himself to kill an unarmed teenager. And they have been getting away with this. I'm noticing also just in personal dealings with white Hispanics, there is an air of I'm better than you going on. I don't know if I'm the only one who's experiencing this, but I am definitely feeling it out here on the West Coast, where approximately 70% of the population is now Hispanic. So now I go into places and I have Hispanics policing me, watching my every move. On my job, I have people, Hispanic, mostly white Hispanics, who are not my supervisors, micromanaging me. And they're starting to use the same types of microaggressions at the workplace that white people would normally use against Black people. My sister, you know, she even told me of something that happened to her on her job. Now, she works in an office, and there is two people in the office. They're both basically, what do you call it, office staff. They do a lot of paperwork and such. So they get assignments passed down to them through their supervisor. Now, my sister says that it's her and this one Hispanic male that works with her, a white Hispanic male. Well, one particular day, somebody quit, and the work floor actually passed down to her and this Hispanic boy. The office staff wanted to know which one of them was going to take up the slack of her work for that particular day until they got a replacement. The white Hispanic boy took it upon himself to send an email to the manager to say that he would take up the slack himself. So when the end of the day comes, he's getting up, getting ready to go, my sister tells me. And on his way out, he tells my sister that she has to complete the work that he promised to do because he's leaving. And he's referring to her and he's acting around her as if he is her supervisor. And my sister told him, and I'm proud of her. She stood her ground. She said, no, you sent the email saying that you were going to get this work done, so you do it yourself. But this isn't the first instance that I've heard people say that white Hispanics have been treating them as if they own them or they have a right to tell them what to do. Just like at my job, I change trailers all the time with white Hispanic men. Now, I am in a male-dominated industry, so I always have to watch my back because right through the door, I have to prove myself a lot of times because I'm a female truck driver. So when these guys come around me, they try me all the time to see if I know my stuff. I had a white male Hispanic truck driver that I changed trucks with every day come to me and try to micromanage me on my job, telling me what I should and shouldn't do. And mind you, this guy, I've been here over a year and he was just here 3 weeks ago, but he's going to tell me, somebody who has more seniority than him, how to do my job and micromanage. Like I said, I've been noticing this a lot with white Hispanics, and it's starting to become a trend. White Hispanics are starting to act like the white supremacists over Black people now. And I think it's time for us to discuss this particular elephant in the room. Now, I was curious to, know if anybody else had noticed it or wrote any articles about it. So with a quick Google search, I was indeed able to find an article. And I will share my screen with you. This article by Latino Rebels, this was, let me see if I can get the date on here. December 21st, 2015. So good 3 years ago was when this article came out. It says, white Latino racism on the rise. It's time for a serious conversation on Euro-diasporic whiteness. Okay, now within the first paragraph I'm going to read, it says, a common misconnection that exists today rests on the notion that there are no racial hierarchies in Latin America countries or within Latino communities in the United States. In other words, Latino or Hispanic is itself a race. Now, you talk to any Hispanic or Latino and they'll argue you down that it's not a race, but they will not tell you exactly what their race is. But, just for argument's sake and just, to keep things down, we're going to refer to the Latino Spaniard race in general as Hispanic. Okay, just to, get it all in one category. It is debatable, but for right now, it's Hispanic. That's the race that we're referring to here. For many, this conversation is pointless squabble that halts the true need for unity amongst marginalized groups in the United States. Unfortunately, overlooking the importance of this issue has in fact alienated separation and a lack of interest in each other's problems. The shooting of unarmed African-American teenager Trayvon Martin by a half Peruvian and half white man named George Zimmerman. The rise of so-called Hispanic conservatives like Ted Cruz, Al Cardenas, and Marco Rubio, and the examples of racist comments by Latinos in the media like Rodner Figueroa have made it impossible to have a conversation of Latinos and race. It is becoming clear that whites from Latin America, although marginalized by Anglo whites, So they're still under white supremacy, but they are acting as if they are honorary white people themselves. Although marginalized by Anglo whites have been able to pass as honorary whites and benefit from the inequalities formed by white supremacy. This is not new and it has a history. All right, reading on. Many people who neglect to explore the history of Latin America in the United States fail to analyze people like the famous white Cuban Ricky Ricardo or Desi Arnaz, who penetrated the American television series I Love Lucy in 1951, at a time when Black people were not even allowed to perform next to white actors. Lucille Ball, was Arnaz's real wife, and both enjoyed a long and prosperous career in the film industry. In 1954, Arnaz was even able to get a role as the famous Don Juan. During this time, white Latin Americans were seen as foreign, inferior, and exotic, and yet many passed and enjoyed white privilege. Even all three of John Wayne's wives were Latin America, at a time when anti-Black and anti-immigrant sentiments were powerful, hateful discourses. Less mentioned is the famous Afro-Puerto Rican actor, Juano Hernandez, who today is considered or was one of the most successful pioneering Black actors of the African-American film industry. Despite Hernandez being from Latin America, he had to take Black roles precisely because he was Black and experienced the same segregation as other Blacks in the United States. This was also common in Latin America, where Blacks were not allowed to be actors while whites enjoyed wearing blackface and dehumanized Black people. Now let me go back to my camera real quick, because I got to look at you and tell you this. This is what I was telling you in my other video when I was saying that there is a difference. See, Black people like to say, oh, Hispanics are Black too. Mexicans are Black too. Puerto Ricans are Black too. We always want to latch on to people that ain't Black, okay? Now, when a lot of you all are calling these Hispanic people Black too, the ones you're pointing to are either the light-skinned Latinos or the Latinos that look entirely white. And then you all try to parade them around in front of other Black people. Who was that? Tyrese with your Black Hispanic queen. Remember Tyrese came out talking about his Black queen? And then later on, she had to bust him out. Black, I am Hispanic, Black in me. What she was really saying is, I am a white Hispanic. And that is what I've been trying to tell you guys. The same way that I am a American, the same way that there are Black Hispanics, there are also white Hispanics who enjoy white privilege. This is what I've been trying to tell you. But I guess, you know, if the white man or the white Latino man writes an article about it, it'll sound better coming from them. But I'll read on. So look at this picture. To the left, you have Juano Hernandez, and to the right you have Lucille Ball and her husband, Desi Arnaz. Desi Arnaz is a white Hispanic. Juano Hernandez is a Black Hispanic. So I want you guys to get a picture of what I'm talking about here. Over here to the left, Black. Over here to the right, white. So for all you Black people saying, oh, we're all the same. No, we're not. No, we're not. And the Black Hispanics get discriminated against over there in Latin America the same way that Black Americans get discriminated against over here in America. There is a difference, y'all. So quit saying that these white Hispanics are black. That just is not true. All right, let me go on. Okay. According to Jill Lane, blackface was used as a way to create a Cuban identity, independent from Spain. However, one can argue that blackness was seen as a proxy for national discourse and not for racial democracy. Anti-blackness was occurring transnationally between the United States and Latin America. You guys remember Jim Crow? Jim Crow started here in America and it spread worldwide to the point that it was even used in Asia. To this day, have the black face caricatures that they sell in their shops. So our group has been ran through worldwide, y'all. And like I said, the white Asians, the white Hispanics, the white Arabs, all of the white racial groups, these were the ones who were subjugating the black racial groups in their country. People always want to say, oh, I'm not black, I'm Dominican Republican, or I'm not black, I'm Barbadian. Those are national origins, not races. There's really only two races, people, and that is black and white. But I'll read on. Anti-blackness was occurring transnationally between United States and Latin America. A Euro-diasporic anti-black establishment was taking place, a cruel phenomenon which can be traced back to colonialism and African slavery. Ernest was able to perform the white roles and even marry an Anglo-white actress, but the same could not be remotely fathomed for Hernandez. While many invoke the idea of mistage, racial mixing, and the one-drop rule, it did not determine Latin American identity racially. The false idea that you were non-white if any of your ancestors were not white has been a common belief that undergirded racial categories and whiteness as passing in the United States. Regardless if Arnaz was considered white or not, his whiteness allowed him to pass and have access to Hollywood. Arnaz benefited from the system of white supremacy. While Arnaz was able to remain Cuban while also being marginalized, Hernandez was not able to be Puerto Rican because he was black. The impossibility of Afro descendants from Latin America being able to play Latin American or Latino roles would be further marked after the Civil Rights Movement. Black people from Latin America were segregated and became part of Black communities in the United States. Eminent figures like Arturo Alfonso Schomburg, Carlos Cooks, Chano Pozo, and Mario Baza, among others, formed part of the Harlem Renaissance. From the 1950s through the 1970s, there was a rise and fall of an uneasy coalition between Latinos and African Americans. Apart from the internal conflicts and white backlash that resulted from the Civil Rights Movement, the most salient aftermath was the cementing of racial essentialisms. Blackness was seen solely as African American, and Latinos became brown, while whiteness became Anglo whites. These political and racial constructions remained unquestioned until recently. The discussion of Latino whiteness was rarely brought up and instead focused minimally on Latino blackness. For example, Felipe Luciano's Jabaro, My Pretty Nigger, encouraged his blackness in Puerto Ricans. It appears there was a time where you could be both black and Latino, but not white and Latino. The Nairo Rican, I can't pronounce that word. The Nairo Rican movement was occurring while the Black Arts movement was taking place as well. So the question remains, do Latinos brown themselves to create Latino as a race because the racial discourse in the United States does not allow them to be part of it? Another more important question is, what occurred as a result of Latinos becoming one brown, which is mixed race, and blackness exclusive to African Americans? As a result, Latin American markets and elites were able to carry out their anti-black agendas, which led to the rise of all-white soap operas protected under the construction of mestiçage or brownness. Afro-Latinos and indigenous people were either made invisible or reduced to adopting roles as musicians and sports athletes. This benefited African Americans tremendously because it allowed them to fully immerse themselves within American nationalism, which required separating their history from Latinos and Afro-Latinos while envisioning Latinos in the United States as people who were never part of the nation to begin with. As Wilson Jeremiah Moses states in his book, Black Messiahs and Uncle Toms in 1982, Black messianisms in the point in our cultural mythology where nationalism and assimilationism come together most strikingly. African American sitcoms resulted in Black essentialists and racial hierarchies that excluded Afro-Latinos in the US and forced other Black migrants to assimilate to African Americanism. African American sitcoms like Jefferson's, Sanford and Son, and Good Times were mostly Christian, monolingual, and family based. Latino sitcoms like Que Pasa USA, Chico and the Man, and AES Hudson Street were white, Christian, bilingual, and also family based. These racially and ethnically constructed divisions not only excluded the larger diverse Black communities in the US, but it also formed a Blackness anti-ethical or to Latino identity. While Latin American markets created all-white soap operas, which has become ever more transnational, the US media also created these divisions. In Christian Science, Alcantara's article, Who and What the Hell is a White Hispanic? One of many arguments presented is that Latino whiteness is not possible because of the myths of mestiçage in some way makes Latinos all equal. For example, in the US, there is the one drop rule. If you have even one ancestor in Asian or indigenous, you're automatically non-white. So the one drop rule is that you are white if you have even one white ancestor. In the previous 4 generations, Regia del Sacar or Gracias al Sacar laws. In the U.S., a Latino historically is not white, since Latinos of indigenous, African, and Asian blood. However, according to the New York Times, in 2000, over 2.5 million Americans, numbers are more than likely higher now, changed race from some other race to white. This is what I've been telling you guys. Just in 2000, 2.5 million Americans changed their race to white. Now we get into the nitty gritty, y'all. Let me go on and read. In the recent 2010 census, 75.8% identified as white and 12.4% identified as Black. And I'm willing to bet that the only reason why 12.4% of them even identified as Black is because they could not get away with identifying with white. Recently, because the Census Bureau finally realized that Latino is not a race, it is considering changing the ethno-racial category of Hispanic by allowing Latinos to choose a race for 2020. A recent document from the United States Census Bureau states that 3/4 of growth in the white population is due to growing numbers of Hispanic whites. Didn't I tell you all? Hispanic whites comprise a larger proportion of the multiple white race population than the white alone population. So where does this leave us? Today we are paying the price. The killing of Trayvon Martin by George Zimmerman caused many to revisit the notion of Latino whiteness. The article published by Latino Rebels, the white Hispanic label, yes, people, racism is a Latino thing too, actually made some good points at the need to revisit race and Latino identity, while Cesar Vargas, the privilege of the white Hispanic, leaving out the rest, caused to amazement a stir from white Latinos. Nonetheless, we also need African Americans to begin embracing Afro-Latinos among other Black communities who do not conform to an African American nomenclature. Unfortunately, as I had predicted, anti-Black racism has reached their doorstep. Rodner Figueroa compared Michelle Obama to a simian from the Planet of the Apes and was fired from Univision. I remember that. Figueroa's excuse was that he was mixed. However, Univision, one of the most anti-Black television channels I've ever seen, made firing Figueroa seem like an oxymoron. This Saturday, the Miss Puerto Rico winner for the Miss American pageant was suspended for anti-Muslim tweets. Last night, the African-American actor Steve Harvey was attacked on Twitter from racist white Latinos and other Latinos as well, and Anglo whites who wanted Miss Columbia to win the Miss Universe contest, wanted Miss Columbia to win the Miss Universe contest. These profiles use abhorrent language, as the tweets below show. All this hatred came as a result of Harvey mistakenly naming Miss Columbia the winner instead of Miss Philippines, the real winner. And you all can see the tweets. Like I said, you all can enlarge the screens if you can't see it that well, but these are the tweets that they are speaking of. I'll read a few of them. Andres Sarmiento said, "Fucking nigger. You don't know how to read. Fucking monkey. Fuck you. Columbia won." Hans Skadoljabrand said, "Dumb nigger." Now, these are all white Latinos speaking here. Diego says, stupid, uneducated nigger. It's Colombia. Learn to read and spell retarded monkey. Go back to Africa, monkey. Jose Camilo Geraldo says, nigger motherfucker. Alvaro Ortiz Bonnell says, hey, fucking nigger, are you high or are you stupid? This person can't even write, that even know and read a card. Okay, he have a nerve to talk about somebody and he can't even type. Fern Anada says, I hate you so much, fucking nigger. Now, let me just point out once again, these are white Hispanics saying this. Hence the title of my thread, are white Hispanics the new white supremacists? Let me read on. This is why we need to have a serious conversation about Latino whiteness. But for that to happen, we need to have a serious conversation on Euro-diasporic identity and anti-blackness. We need to have conversations on the CASA systems that are still more powerful than ever and are the permanent results of the hundreds of years of African slavery in the Americas. While Latinos need to own up to their whiteness because we just can't continue to afford this to continue any further. We also need African Americans to understand that Latin America has over 200 million Afro descendants, and that going to Africa also entails going to Colombia, Brazil, Cuba, and Puerto Rico, among other countries. I told you guys many times about the African diaspora, didn't I? I told you the slave ships did not just stop here in America, didn't I, guys? Blackness does not have to solely mean African American, and whiteness does not have to solely mean Anglo-white. I keep telling you guys, this is really black and white, and we have two races all across the globe. African American academics need to stop erasing Afro-Latinos from African American history. I agree. They also have to become more open with blackness. They can't wrap their blackness with the American flag, exclude other black people in the US, and then say that they are all about black unity. Exactly. Once again, people, I keep telling you, we need to unite across this globe. We're all black. And I'm talking about the black Latinos, not the ones that you want to integrate with the white Latinos. No, I'm not talking about the white Latinos. I'm talking about the black ones that look like your black asses. That's who I'm talking about. History has made identity constructions that are reversible. We just have to work together and be honest about where we stand in the world. Okay, and this marks the end of that article. Let me go back to my screen here. Oh, wait a minute. Here I am. Throw my camera back up here. All right, so this is what I want to tell you guys. You know, we have been sitting here in this United States, and a lot of us have been kind of confused, right? We're wondering why white Asians seem to treat us like niggers. We wonder why white Arabs treat us like niggers. We wonder why white Hispanics treat us like niggers. And we wonder why other groups that come across into our country who are white treat us like niggers. And that is because, y'all, they think we're niggers because they are white. This is what I've been trying to tell you. The same way we have black and white in this country, they have black and white in their countries. And no, all Hispanics are not black, but there are Afro-Latinos. The ones that look like you and me, those are the black ones. The ones that look like white folks, those are the white ones. Well, anyway, I hope I made myself perfectly clear today. But I'm going to go ahead and sign off.
All right, everybody, I'm back. That was actually pre-recorded from earlier today. I once again I do a lot of videos over on Facebook, but I wanted to share that video with you. I do apologize for the choppy reading. I really hate, having to read all the time. And I'm just now getting the hang of this Google Hangout stuff too. So please forgive me if I have not acknowledged anyone. I just now realized that I had to open up another YouTube screen just so I can see your comments because you guys weren't in the Hangout. But I'm going to go ahead and go through the comments right now and acknowledge everyone. Hello, Apple Tree. How are you? And True Royal family, it is always a honor to have you in here. Blur Monster, Tap. Let's see here. Who else? Oh, Traveling Diva. Hey, what's going on? And who else do we have here? Oh, Superior Awesome Dwa Girl. Am I pronouncing that right? Superior Awesome Dwa Girl or Dwa Girl. How are you today? Shay Monty, Mars Sirius. Let's see here. I'm sorry if I'm chopping up your names. Q Savage. And let's see, I think I have gotten everybody. Oh, Melanated Vessel, how are you? Oh, there's quite a few comments here that I needed to add in. I'm sorry, guys. I'm learning as I'm going on how to use this thing here. Teresa Bullock. All right. Hello. All right. So, yeah, I wanted to share this particular piece with you all because, there is definitely an elephant in the room that needs to be talked about. The white Latinos are more and more acting like the honorary white supremacists of Black people. And as I stated before, it's starting to become more and more prominent. I'm starting to feel somewhat of a lash, guys, especially out here on this West Coast. More and more, it seems like white Latinos are utilizing the same tools of white supremacy that white people have been utilizing over Black people. It's getting to the point now, especially out here on this West Coast, whereas they're, creating more and more jobs for their communities. And I don't have anything against minorities building up their own communities, except for this one thing. When Black people, when we were building up our communities, white people, Asian people, the mob, everybody was coming against us to destroy our communities. We were not allowed to have them. But I'm looking at least 3-4 different states out here on this West Coast where white Hispanics have been able to successfully maintain their communities without any interruption. And I just want to know, why is that? Are they now the new model minority? What the hell is going on, y'all? And even more to the point, when you go and you work in these establishments where they are, these people, they're not even your boss, they're not even your supervisor, but some way or another, they're using these microaggressions against you. They're acting as if they have the right to tell you what to do. And they're utilizing these microaggressions, and they're utilizing their system, their micro system of white supremacy, their honorary whiteness, in order to get away with it. Like I said earlier, the first instance of it that I could remember when I started noticing Hispanic white supremacy was with the whole Trayvon Martin deal, when George Zimmerman deputized himself and just put it upon himself to be judge, juror, police. I mean, it was like right then and there is when I realized these white Hispanics are exercising white supremacy over Black people. But anyway, let me go to the comments here. Sister Chaz says that they have been the model minority. I agree. I really do. Teresa Bullock says, so true. Why is it that when we build, they call us racist? Exactly. And when we did build, because we don't build anymore. We haven't built anything for a while. But when we did build, they tore everything that we built down. We weren't allowed to have it. Apple Tree says, some dudes mad at me because I told them women were created first. Well, I don't know where that came from, but that's another topic. Traveling Diva 2018 says, yes, superior, awesome, boy, girl, the white Hispanics don't fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28. I have something for their taco asses, though. I don't deal with disrespect from whites and want from them either. You know what? I don't blame you, Traveling Diva 2018. It's getting to the point where, they are acting very superior over Black people. It's getting to the point where they feel like there's an air of I'm better than you coming from these people. And I don't know exactly when it happened. Like I said, I can pinpoint it when I first noticed it to the Trayvon Martin shooting. When George Zimmerman got away with killing an unarmed teenager. That's when I can first pinpoint white Latino supremacy going on here. And it's getting to the point where, damn, how many people want to exercise supremacy over us? This is getting ridiculous. I mean, we're getting kicked around pretty bad here. First it was the Asians, and now it feels like white Latinos are trying to get a piece of the action too. Traveling Diva 2018 says, I let them know quick. If you disrespect me, I disrespect you, so don't come for me. Apple Tree says, oh, yeah, same with me, the George Zimmerman case. Yes. Belizean Renegade Rita says, yeah, they're all white. Not all of them. There are some Afro-Latinos that we need to start acknowledging as Black. Not like, what's his name? Tyrese, though. Tyrese coming out talking about his Black queen. And the woman wasn't even Black. The woman was a white Latino. He tried to, pull the wool over everybody's eyes with that one. But like I said, we want to claim, these different groups, but we don't want to claim the Black ones. We got to start claiming the Black ones, y'all, because they are African. Okay, we got a lot of Africans out there. Sister Chaz says they have been doing this before the Trayvon Martin situation. We are just now becoming more aware of it. I wouldn't put it past, for myself, I didn't notice it, like you said, until that Trayvon Martin incident. I pretty much just looked at Hispanics as being another minority. But it wasn't until just recently that I had to start categorizing and dissecting this and putting it all into perspective. Because, yeah, they're the white ones and there's the Black ones, and the white ones are exercising and benefiting from white supremacy right along with white people. And it was a tough pill for me to swallow, but I do see the handwriting on the wall now. Trust and believe. I see and I understand it now. Let's see. Traveling Diva 2018 says, I have also heard Black men claiming Latinos and talking about marrying Latinas. Okay, but that doesn't guard you from racism because she's racist too. Exactly. And I would even venture to say that white Latinos are even more racist now than white people. I could be wrong about this, but the level of racism that I'm feeling from them, and And once again, I did not learn how to distinguish between the white Latinos and the white people until recently, because a lot of them can pass, y'all. They can definitely pass. So that's the reason why they even feel superior in the first place. Sister Chad says, sister, the black ones are bad too. It's sad. You know what? It is sad, Sister Chaz, and I'm glad that you brought that up, because I was speaking with a Afro Latino male, and I was asking him what his race was. Now, you know, to look at him, he's the same skin complexion as me. He has the same big nose that I have, same large features that all of us black people, most of us black people have. But he's going to tell me he didn't know. He just, you know, knows that he's Latino. And I said, okay. I said, well, what race is your mother? Because I saw his mother. His mother is black. So he goes, oh, she's Mexican mixed with something else, something else, something else. And then when he got around to saying African, he left that to the last thing. And so basically he gave me a bunch of places, a bunch. He said Mexican, Belizean, Indian, and all that type of stuff. And then he said African. I said, okay, so basically your mother is black. And then he goes, well, yeah, you know, he looks down and said, yeah, well, she's black. I said, and what was your father? He said, oh, my father was black. I said, okay, so when I asked you what race are you, why wouldn't you just tell me that you're black? And he just looked down and stared at the floor. The problem with black people unifying with other blacks from other areas of the globe is that other blacks from other areas of the globe do not want to be black. That's the whole thing about it. They do not want to identify with black. Only 12% of them identify as black. And like I said, the 12% of them that do identify as black, they do so only because they probably can't pass as white. Traveling Diva 2018 says, so you're black, dude. Yeah, he's black. Blackety, blackety, black, Diva. He did not want to come up off that black. He did not want to cop to being black at all. And it's disgusting. It really is. You know, so if there is a rift between African Americans and other black people across the globe, it's always this thing right here. You know, just like when you have Nicki Minaj coming out saying that she's Dominican Republican or whatever she comes from. They're quick to tell you their national origin when you ask them about race. Okay, yeah, don't tell me where you're from. What the hell are you? You look black to me. But you know, it's like pulling teeth getting these other black people from across the globe to say that they're black and identify with you on the level of being black. I don't know at what point that's going to change, but it's a real problem. That's the disconnect that I see right now in the in us unifying all over the globe as a nation. We're not going to be able to unify until these people first admit that they're black, and they're not doing it. Let's see what you guys are saying. Okay, Belizean Renegade Rita says, I'm wearing black. You let Latinos steal brown from you, African Americans. Yeah, you know, now they'll go so far as to say that they're brown, but they will not say that they're black. And we got brown black people too. I don't even let them have that excuse. You know, I'll tell them in a minute, I'm brown. You know, I got some brown relatives too. So what are you saying? Belizean Renegade Rita says, I'm all racist. Belizean, really? What are you? Belizean, don't come up in here and be black talking about you everything now. She's okay. Belizean Renegade Rita says, I'm Latino too. I'm burgundy like a highlighter. Okay. Yeah, and I mean there's no problem with that, claiming Latino. But if you are a black Latino and you look black, you have the black phenotype, you're black. Traveling Diva says, I'm black mixed with black. That's exactly. Belizean Renegade says, I'm there too. You holler, trip. Okay, let me see what Superior Awesome Dwa Girl says. I've been around plenty of Hispanics, and yes, they are colorist. My sister is dark, and these crazy Dominicans down the street would harass her. That's a shame. That's crazy. And I bet you the Dominicans, the ones that are harassing her, are they black too? And just maybe a few shades lighter? It's amazing. It's amazing the colorism that goes on with our people all around the world. We are different colors all around the world, and we want to sit up here and harp on skin tone. It's crazy. Teresa Bullock says white people accept being called white people, even if their lineage is, say, Irish, but now we want to be Dominican, even if we are born in New York like Nikki. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't know that Nicki Minaj was born in New York. That lying heifer. That lying heifer. But you learn something new every day. Wow. I'm gonna have to look that one up, Teresa Bullock. Good catch there. Belizean Renegade said that part right. Traveling Diva 2018 says, I want to find the blackest man I can, yes, and have babies with him. And I want to teach my kids to be proud of their ancestry. Right on. Right on. Belizean Renegade Rider says, she's African American. Hey, I finally got the gist of your name. Sorry about my non-reading ass. Belizean Renegade Rider. I like that name. That's pretty tight. She's African American, huh? Wow. Ain't that something? That lying heifer. Blur Monster said Irish and Italian is white. They Catholics, just like Spaniards, don't get it finessed. Okay. Catholic. Oh. The Irish and the Italians? Well, I know the Italians are Catholic, but I didn't know the Irish were. Sister Chaz says, I thought Nicki Minaj was born in St. James, Trinidad. I did too, but according to Belizean Renegade, she's African American. Okay, Belizean Renegade says, my ancestry DNA test says that I'm 63% African. Okay. Hey, that qualifies. Traveling Diva 2018 says, thank God I'm 91% African. Look, I think I'm 99.9%, y'all. But at any rate, we're all Africans. We're all Africans at the end of the day. Definitely at the end of the day, we're all black. And we should be, into unifying with one another. All of this here, I'm Trinidadian, oh, I'm from this place, I'm Cuban. That's a bunch of bullshit. You got white Cubans, you got black Cubans. Black people, we got to start unifying with our black brothers and sisters around the globe. We got to start. This is nonsense. All of this division, just like in that book, The Art of War, the division, divide them up, confuse them. This has been a war tactic that's been used against us. We're chopped up and divided all around the globe. We could actually do some good everywhere if we unified and if we all knew we were black. If we all knew we were black and just unified, think how powerful we would be as a group. Let's see here. Traveling Diva 2000. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. Superior Awesome Dwa Girl says the Dominican families usually have an odd mixture of people in their family. Some look white, some look black, and some look mixed in their family. Well, that's the same thing with black people, Superior Awesome Dwa Girl. I mean, we got some black people that could pass for Mexican. We got some black people that are high yellow. I mean, it's the same thing here. It's the exact same thing. Traveling Diva 2018 says, I was so happy when I received my results. That was one of the happiest days of my life. Girl, you proud of that 91%, I can tell. Teresa Bullock says, yes, I hope I'm not mistaken, but Nikki's parents or one of them came over from the islands. I read she was born and raised in New York. She went to an art high school in New York. I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to look that up, Teresa. That's a good find. The True Royal Family says I'm high yellow. I seen you, True Royal Family. Yeah, you can light up the room. Yeah, you are high yellow. So if I need to see something in the dark, I just grab you high yellow folks. Y'all luminescent. But also very much black. We definitely have all shades in our culture. Oh, True Royal, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I wasn't trying to hurt you. Some of my best friends are high yellow. Belizean Renegade Writer says, my mom is red. Yeah, I got some red cousins. I got high yellow cousins. I got cousins that are black as probably some of the blackest Africans you can find. I got all shades in my family. Yeah, genetics is weird. It's weird like that. But you know, black people, we carry the DNA of all people. All civilizations come from us. So it does not surprise me that we're all shades of different colors. It's not just from racial mixing. They have plenty of evidence of dark-skinned Africans having light-skinned children. So we are capable of having all the colors of the spectrum. Belizean Renegade, you got gold hair? So you're a blonde? Well, yeah, they're blonde Africans too. Come to think of it, blonde hair, blue-eyed Africans with dark skin. You got some Africans that are redheads too. True Royal says, my husband is deep dark. I love a deep dark man. I don't know what it is about the deep dark skinned man. But you know what's so sad though is that most of the deep dark skinned men have the most color issues. They're the most self-hating black people you ever want to meet. And I'm not trying to categorize all dark skinned men. I know they're not all like that. But for some reason or another, the darker ones, they have some issue with their color. But chocolate men, oh my God, yes, they are the most sexy. Let's see what you guys are talking about here. Oh, dark skin, gold hair. John Doe says albinos are slaughtered in Africa for their magical properties. Really? What? Hold on a second. Albinos are slaughtered in Africa for their magical properties. Are you kidding? That's crazy. So other Africans think that albinos are magical? That's crazy. I mean, it's not funny or anything, but I'm laughing because I can't believe it. I'm laughing out of disbelief, guys. So I'm not trying to be, wow, that's crazy. Black albinos. Yeah, I know that there are black albinos, but that's crazy. Doesn't make any sense. Damn. Superior Awesome Dwa Girl says replace the albino with white Hispanics. They are magical. You want the white Hispanics to get slaughtered? That is so wrong. Apple Tree says, oh yeah, albinos are hunted in certain parts of Africa for voodoo reasons too. Oh wow, not you guys are giving me something to look up here. That's interesting. Blur Monster says my sister's hair is reddish brown and she's red. I'm dark with black hair. Crazy genes. Wow, yeah, that is crazy. Are you guys from the same parents? Teresa Bullock says, we all shades, but we are black people. We are the first man people. We carry the spectrum of color in mankind. Yes, honey, the black of the berry, you know. Right. Exactly, Teresa Bullock. Exactly. The black of the berry, the sweet of the juice is what the old saying goes. And it is so true. Yeah, but I don't know, guys. Like I said, I've been noticing this, and this is the elephant in the room that a lot of people have not addressed yet. Because once again, as Black people, we want to identify with so many different other groups, especially the Indians. We really, really want to identify with the Indians. You can't tell Black people that not too many of us are indigenous. If you want to have that little conversation, you're going to make a lot of folks angry. A lot of folks angry. I get so many Black people either wanting to be Hispanic or either wanting to be of indigenous Indian culture. And it's just sad. I'm right with Traveling Diva 2018. I'm Black mixed with Black, and I am proud to be Black. There was a time when people used to be proud to be Black. For a short time period, but there was a time. Superior Awesome Dwa Girl says Indians are very racist. Yes, they are. Extremely racist. And to be honest with you, they didn't really mess with us that much, back during slavery either. They weren't really intermingling with us that much. Traveling Diva 2018 says, we are not the Native Americans. I'm Black, Black, and Black. Exactly. And like Superior Awesome Dwa Girl says, Indians are very racist. They are not our friends. Actually, we don't really have no friends, y'all. We don't have really anybody that we can call a true ally. And I don't know if it was True Royal that said it, but you don't actually have to be friends in order to be allies. But the problem with us is we want everybody to like us in order for us to do business. You don't have to be everybody friends in order to be allies. It's really good to know who your friends are and who your allies are, and your allies are not necessarily your friends. The True Royal family says, my only problem I had was being yellow. I'm getting better with it, but I still love being Black. Traveling Diva 2018 says, exactly, we don't have allies. I wish our people would wake up and realize this. I don't care who doesn't like me. Sister Chaz says, there you go. We are on our own. Exactly. We are on our own. Teresa Bullock says, I heard they hunted us for the white plantation owners when we escaped. You know what? I heard that too about the Indians, right? Yeah, I think Dr. Claude Anderson wrote that in one of his books I was reading. He said that they hunted us down for the white plantation owners. The plantation owners would put bounties on the heads of escaped slaves. So if Indians found us dead or alive, they would get the bounty for us. So yeah, they did. There was very few Indian tribes that we could call allies, and I think one of them that I can think of off the top of our head was the Seminoles. They were friendly Indian tribe, but then again, the Seminoles were black. So I can't even really give them that much props because the Seminoles were black. Traveling Diva 2018 says they did, and the Native Americans also had their own slaves and refused to release them. Look it up. Yeah, they were the last ones actually to release black people from slavery. They didn't want to because they didn't want to give up any land. And this is what I keep telling black people that swear up and down that they have indigenous blood. The same way that white people gave us their last name and allowed us to stay here on American soil, Indians gave black people their last name too and allowed them to live on reservations. So some black people are culturally Indian, but they do not have indigenous blood. So there are some older black people that actually have Indian birth certificates, but the Indians made sure to put on those birth certificates that they were black. So you got a lot of black people running around waving their great-great-great-grandfather's Indian birth certificate, and then they're not paying any attention, or they're being disingenuous and pointing out the fact that those Indians stamped right there on the birth certificate who was black and who was indigenous, but they will not tell you that. Black people want to be Indian so bad that they will distort history. So yeah, I do know that game. I know all about that game. But anyway, how long have I been on here? Have I been on here in an hour? I don't be wanting my feeds to be that long. Let me see. Superior Awesome White Girl says, notice that any group that had worked with the white group have nearly died out or become poor when you work against blacks. This is what will happen to you. Exactly. Exactly. And black people will never die out. Like I said, we are all over. They'll never, they have tried to their own detriment to get rid of us. But we are all over. They'll never get rid of us. Traveling Diva 2018 said, I think that's what happened with my great grandmother. She was really light skinned and documented as black, but they have been saying for years that she was Indian. I think she was half white. Yes. And I don't know if you guys ever saw that episode of Ancestry where I forget the guy's name, but he was having that conversation with Tina Turner. Now, you know, Tina Turner, she got them high cheekbones and she looked like she could be a little mixed with something. And so her family had been telling her since they are from, I forget where they're from, I think Nutbush or something like that, but it's like somewhere close to Indian territory. And her mother had been passing down the story from her great-grandmother and great-great-grandmother that they were indigenous. And come to find out, Tina Turner has exactly 2% indigenous blood. So, you know, it goes to show, you know, there are black people whose ancestors may have lived on Indian reservations, but they were not Indians. The same thing with, what's his name? Was it John Cheadle? I forget his name. His last name is Cheadle. He has an Indian last name. Like I said, the Indians gave some of us their last names. And he actually can trace his roots all the way back to Indian. But he had 0% Indian blood in him. No indigenous blood whatsoever. Like I said, those Indians, they wasn't really fucking with us like that, y'all. They really wasn't. Don Cheadle, yeah. Yeah, he had 0% Indian blood in him. Sister Chaz says some African tribes have high cheekbones. Yes, exactly. And John Cheadle has high cheekbones too. You would think he kind of has some Indian looking features too, but he has 0% in him. Tina Turner, 2%, and she's more white than Indian. I think somebody else in here was saying that they think that's what happened to their grandmother, that she might have been more white than Indian, and that's the same thing that happened with Tina Turner. She's mixed with more Caucasian than she is any Indian. Now, white people, they was fucking with us. They was running all through us. White people was raping us left and right. But those Native Americans, they were not fucking with us like that. Not like that. Very few of us can claim indigenous blood. And really, it wasn't even that many Indians left for us to even be saying that there are so many of us out here with this indigenous blood. There's so many black people out here claiming indigenous blood from a group of people where it was a very small population of people, by the way. Very small. Sister Chaz says, I'm sorry, Don Cheadle look 102% African. You wrong. You are so wrong. Oh, goodness. Traveling Diva 2018 says, I think my great grandfather was dishonest about his race too and said he was half Indian, but my grandmother discovered that he was half white. Wow. And see, and that's the thing, you have a lot of black people that sit up here and they claim Indian because they got the wavy hair. Anybody with wavy hair can part their hair down the middle and rock two pigtails and put an Indian whatever that thing around their head, and they would look Indian. They would sit up there and look Indian with they lying asses. I'm sorry, but they are liars and very disingenuous, and they're not doing any type of service by lying. Superior Awesome Wild Girl says some African tribes also look very Asian. I think they are called the Bushmen. I've heard of them too, Superior. I've heard of them as well. I don't exactly know where the Asians get their features from, though. I'm going to look that up. Traveling Diva 2018 says the hurt from the rapes is what makes a lot of our people try and cover up the white DNA by saying that they are native. And that's the thing, like, we want to cover up the white DNA, and we're hurt by white people having had this dominion over us, but we don't want to acknowledge the dominion that the Indians wielded over us too. For a little while, the Indians were honorary white supremacists over black people, and white people gave them that power. The same way they gave the Asians the power, and the same way they are now giving white Latinos the power. They're giving everybody carte blanche to kick our asses. It's time for us to rise up, y'all. It's time. I'm tired. I refuse to lay down and be everybody's whooping post. It's getting bad out here. Getting real bad. Topaz Hart says Latinos run California. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. There's hardly any more black people in California. It's a wrap for black people in California, especially Los Angeles. They gentrified the hell out of Los Angeles. Sister Chaz says, my theory is that the Native Americans have distant Asian ancestry and Liberian Peninsula. I can't read. Liberian Peninsula. Lord, I'm getting to the point now where I can't even read. Yeah, I agree, Sister Chaz. I think it's so too. Let's see here. Any more? Nope. No more comments from you guys. Well, I am on the West Coast. I am so thankful for everybody tuning in to this broadcast because I really think that this is an important conversation to have. Very important conversation. Eskimos, huh? Superior awesome girl. They're the Eskimos. I want to look that up. You guys are giving me a lot of food for thought here. Says Liberian and Eskimos. I'm going to look that up. Thank you, Traveling Diva. I really appreciate it. It's almost 12 o'clock out there. Girl, you better get you some sleep. What time you got to be on the road? You're welcome, Superior Awesome Girl. Churro, you out here with me. Thank you, Robert Morris, for the super chat. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's 9 o'clock out here. I got to be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I got to be up at the witching hour. Oh, you're off this weekend. Lucky you. Traveling Diva. I got to work Saturday and Sunday. Thank you so much, Robert Morris. I appreciate that. Well, everybody. Oh, wait. You're near Oakland Zoo? Okay. Nice. Yeah, I'm out here in Phoenix. And I'm thinking about moving around. It's too hot out here. It's 115 degrees every day now. And this is supposed to be monsoon season, but we haven't seen much rain. Yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and sign off, guys. I am really thankful. I'm glad that you guys came to hang out with me. Please do hang out with me again. But let me go ahead and sign off. This is Faith Jones coming at you once again with another one of my videos. Please like, please share, and definitely please do subscribe. I love all of you. Good night.